I'm Lainey.
And I'm Laura Beth.
And we are Steel Magnolias.
Two sisters who love family, traditions, and all things Southern.
We've got plenty of room at our table, so pull up a chair.
Hey, Lainey.
Hi, Laura Beth.
Slurp, slurp, slurp.
I got a drink for you. Taste it.
It's good. It's blueberry?
Blueberry. It's just a tea. No, it's not a cocktail or anything.
Right.
Just an iced tea. It's called Blue Harvest green tea, and it comes from the Copper Kettle in Foley, Alabama.
Green tea's really good for you, right?
Health benefits. So are blueberries. So,
That's true. I had a blueberry smoothie this morning.
So, good way to get some fruit in is a smoothie. Yeah. But this tea was a gift from my friend Anita. She had been down to the beach in Alabama. And
so jealous.
I am too.
So many good people on my Instagram feed with their
at the beach right
panhandle sugar beaches.
I know.
That sand is so beautiful and
makes
soft.
You covet.
Yes, covet.
Made me covet too. Well, she was so sweet to go with Betty Lane to the tea shop in Foley and pick me up some tea and bring it back
for my little
rest time here of recovery.
Yes, you're doing well, sis.
And it's so funny because I forget that nice teas, I always think of hot tea. But you can make them iced.
Yeah, loose tea. I never think to make cold, ever.
So that's what we're having.
So do you brew it hot and then you put it over ice? Silly question.
So what? No, that's not silly. So I just made a quart mason jar of it.
Okay.
So I put 2 scoops of the loose tea with hot water in that jar.
Okay.
And let it steep.
Steeped it. Yeah.
And then put it in the refrigerator overnight.
Okay. With the tea in it still?
Well, I didn't. I meant to take...
steeped it overnight?
Yeah, I meant...
Oh, so this is like as strong as it could be.
Yeah. I meant to actually strain it and keep it in there for today.
Because it's very flavorful.
Yeah.
And I was going to say...
do that, and I didn't. And I woke up this morning like, the tea's probably ruined. It's going to be too strong. But I actually think it's good.
I bet you woke up in the night thinking about it, actually.
I'm not going to lie.
You just couldn't get to your fridge very easy.
On my scooter.
Yeah.
So that's actually the truth, is I thought about it about 11:30 last night. And I'm like, oh, well.
Yeah, it is what it is.
But I think it's good.
It's very good.
So anyway.
Well, thank you.
You can take your wonderful loose teas and make them cold sweetened, just like this is. I put some simple syrup in there, and it's just a little variation.
Yeah, that's good to think about, too, because it's hot in the South now.
Stinking hot.
So, tea season feels like it's over.
Yeah.
But it's not.
I mean, there are some people, that's their breakfast thing is a hot tea instead of a coffee.
Yeah.
But make one of those wonderful pomegranate teas that you have or something.
Love it.
Into something cold.
So I have news items to catch up with you on. Have you seen, this isn't the news item, but have you seen John Krasinski, who played Jim on The Office? He's been doing video clips that are called Some Good News.
No, but I would love that.
Pandemic time.
That's
so
fun.
He literally acts like he's at a news desk, shuffling his paper and then telling you very hopeful, tearful, wonderful.
I have not.
Good news
Where do
stories.
I see this? Is it a social media thing?
Yeah, or you could even tell your Echo device to play some good news.
Okay.
And she would do it. Okay.
That's
well,
fine.
Anyway, so that's kind of what I feel like right now is I have some Southern good news. SSGN. Okay. Duke's Mayonnaise has a cookbook coming out.
Okay.
On June 30th.
This is our kind of product.
It's fun because I was thinking, okay, I love Duke's, but I don't have a lot of recipes that are my Duke's mayo recipes per se.
That's just the go-to one we use, but it's not
key ingredient.
Right.
I will say last summer I made the most moist chocolate cake I've ever made, and it was with Duke's. It was their recipe. So I'm intrigued.
It sounded weird to me, but I was like, okay, whatever. But yeah.
And it was
very
wonderful.
moist.
So I'm really looking forward to that. That comes out June 30th.
Perfect.
Things to look forward to in the summer. And then I heard, this is on the rumor mill, that Unclaimed Baggage, the store in Alabama,
that we love,
Yeah, go back and listen to the Unclaimed Baggage episode in season 1 if you have not done so already. They are thinking about doing an online store.
Come on.
That would be interesting.
Now, it would be, but I'm already thinking that's more...
I knew you were going to be anti.
Well, I'm sorry, but like, that's just... Are the prices even going to remain good? Because there's so many people looking at it.
But I was thinking...
Versus if you drive to that small, tiny town...
Well, I was thinking about it from a standpoint of what an inventory nightmare. There's one of everything.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Right?
That
like,
sounds terrible. Like that's why Goodwill's not on a online store, right?
Exactly. So I don't know if they'll do it or not. They were toying with the idea. But
speaking of, I wouldn't mind going to do that during this time if they're open because, you know, that's not that far away. And I can tell Freya's about to dive, nothing to do.
I bet their inventory's small, though, because nobody's flying, so nobody's losing their baggage. They've probably, like,
you're right,
almost had a freeze since
you're
March.
Right. They got no new inventory.
Yeah.
That is so true. I have one thing to say. The peach truck's all over now.
It is.
It's peach season.
I bought a bag. But I bought a bag and gave it away. I didn't even get to taste one. I probably could have snuck
bought a bag
one out.
Yet, but
yeah.
I just am excited that it's peach season.
Because
there's so much glorious things you can do with them.
Peaches and beaches. That was a fun episode.
That was a fun episode.
Okay, I got one more thing, and then we need to jump into our topic. We started watching a cute series on Netflix.
Yes, we did.
Sweet Magnolias, which is, I don't know if they're going to do more than one, like, run of it, but there's 10 episodes up right now.
And we watched 2 so far.
I've actually watched 2 more.
What?
Well, I didn't know how much more time we were going to get to do TV together.
Okay, well, we had to watch it just from the name. Hello.
Right, and it definitely goes along with what I would suspect that it's about, which is 3 women in a South Carolina small town.
They refer to Charleston all the time, so I assumed it was close to that. And it's a fictional town of serenity.
Right. But they're just going through life together, all the struggles, all the hard stuff, but they're there for each other.
Yeah. So far, it's sweet. Very predictable, but sweet.
I think it's getting better. All of episode 1, I was like, am I going to get into this or not? I don't know.
Yeah, you didn't look like you were enjoying it at all.
Well, I knew it was going to be Hallmark-esque.
Mm-hmm. Which we don't love.
I
certainly don't.
I do in the right season. I like it at Christmas time when you're looking for things that are just predictable and joyful and nostalgic. But this, I was like, I want some character development.
But it's getting there.
It is.
Or even in the second one, it was getting there.
It is.
Okay, I've got to catch up to you now.
So, well, what's funny is in episode 4, you're going to see they kind of touch on today's topic, which is catfish.
That's right.
Okay,
part of our culture here in the South.
We wanted to do an episode on catfish. This has been on our list for a while, and catfish is a popular food here in the South.
Totally.
For sure. The actual name is from they call them barbels, I think. Yeah, the barbels.
Like whiskery
which
looking.
Are like whiskers.
It looks like a cat's whiskers.
Yeah, that look like a cat. That's where they get their name. I did not know that. They are ugly fish.
They are ugly.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter how small or big.
Yeah.
They're all ugly. There's not any, like, cute baby catfish. They're all ugly.
It's just a smaller version of ugly.
Ugly little, yeah.
They sometimes call them mud cats. Have you ever heard that?
Well, no, but I saw something online that said they can be called mud cats, pollywogs, or chuckleheads.
Never heard of
and
chucklehead. I've heard mud cat. That's the only one I've heard. But
mud cat meaning because they eat mud.
They like they're bottom dwellers, so they like being at the bottom.
Yeah.
In fact, well, I'll get to that later. But yeah, catfish.
So we are talking about the food catfish. If you are really into pop culture and entertainment,
Lord.
you might think we're talking about the tacky show, but it's a term. A cat, like if someone's a catfish, they're pretending to be someone online that they're not in general.
Oh, that's actually what that means.
Yeah. So it doesn't even have to be in the dating sense. It's
I'm
just
so
anyone
naive.
pretending to be someone they're not on Facebook. So like I could even pretend to be Lady Gaga and have like an account.
Oh, and that means that you're a catfish. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's not what we're talking about today.
They don't have scales. I thought that was interesting, that catfish don't have scales.
I don't know that I knew that.
And they're basically negatively buoyant, meaning they're not floating because they're bottom dwellers. So they're like,
and in order to catch them, you often need like a sink line. Like,
yes.
So I've done a tiny bit of fishing.
Yes.
Believe it or not. Our dad didn't have a son, so who went? I did.
I have a bait box too.
We never specifically went catfish fishing.
Okay.
You know, we just would go fishing on occasion. But I know a little bit about catfish from the perspective of, I know they, you know, like to be in the low areas of the water. And they like cover, like, so if you're like ever, you know, they like being under a bridge or under a dock or under, you know, like a mossy tree or
makes sense.
They just like being under
the alginess of all of those.
And they also like when they like current. So when there's been a flood or a heavy rain or something like that, that kind of stirs up the catfish for some reason.
Okay.
So those are good times to
go fishing.
They also like dams, and Dad and I used to fish occasionally at the Percy Priest Dam.
Okay.
And so
have you caught one?
I don't remember that I've ever caught a catfish.
Okay. Well, I was confirmed.
I caught a puffer fish in the ocean one time. Do you remember those that puff up?
Yeah.
It was hysterical.
Were you all excited?
I loved it. I loved seeing it up close and everything.
So how did you get it off the line? They're not always puffed up.
Cut the line.
Okay.
Oh, it was puffed to full puff.
Full puffing. Well, I knew that this episode needed to happen this week because I went to a park here and saw someone fishing at just a pond, a large pond.
Uh-huh.
And
that's all it takes for catfish.
Well, I saw him have a pretty big catch, so I walked over there to see with my son.
Were you, okay, I was going to say you were with Jacob.
To see what he had caught, and it was a large one catfish, and it was his third one that he had caught.
Just on a rod and reel. He just was throwing
He had magic bait.
Okay.
I took a picture of it.
Okay.
Catfish bait Nightcrawler was the name.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Okay, so that was what was laying on the ground next to his fishing stuff. But I was amazed at how big of a catfish in this pond in a Franklin Park.
That's so funny. Now, there is an entry to the Harpeth River, literally right up the road from me.
Yeah.
And it used to have a dam. Do you remember it used to have a dam?
Yes.
But there was a lot of flooding problems happening, so they took it down and redid some things, and there's not a dam anymore.
Yeah.
So there's still a little bit of fishing going on. It's turned more into a kayak entry.
Yes,
than
I saw
a fishing
a bunch of
hole
people
now.
Today over there. I mean, a bunch of people.
Yeah, there's no social distancing happening at the kayak entry because there was 50 cars.
That's probably
one weekend because I counted.
Yeah, that's how many are over there right now.
And that's
Happy Memorial Day.
Probably not one person per car, I'm thinking. And it's total bottleneck of the river. But anyway, it used to be a big catfish, a big fishing hub when the dam was there. But anyway, I digress. There's lots of different ways you can catch catfish.
Yeah.
But one fishing style I've never done, and I think it's one of the biggest for people who are truly catfish fishing, is limb lines.
Oh.
Or trot lines is what they call it.
Okay.
So a limb line is where you're literally tying a line from a healthy limb of a tree that's sturdy.
Oh.
And it's just dropped down, and you just tie them on several, like in areas, picture Mississippi, Louisiana, which is where you see this a lot.
No, I completely am tracking because they're going to come up on these algae surfaces, which are going to be closer to the edge of the,
right. So you can drop 12 limb lines and go,
have lunch
and come back and see who's on the line.
Wow.
And it's already hung, so you can even, if you're spending a weekend.
Well, you don't even have to walk up to it if the branch is pulling.
Right. you
then
can sometimes
you have a
even
catch.
tell if it's heavy. And yeah,
That's
so
brilliant.
That's one way.
I feel like that's
people do it.
efficient.
Exactly, which
That's
you would
not
like.
That's not what fishing's about at all. Fishing is for
Oh,
tranquility
it gets better.
and peace.
If
Yeah.
you do a trot line,
Okay.
you tie the line from one tree to another with drop lines all down through there. So, do you know what I'm saying? You could have 12 drop lines on a trot line, and really efficient.
That's amazing. Well, that catfish is not one of the most popular fish to eat in the U.S. It's popular here in the South.
Yeah.
But do you know what some of the more popular...
I'll guess. I don't.
I know there's the top 4. I have a list for. I just wondered if you were...
I can tell you
Tell me yours.
my
then.
main one is salmon.
That's on the list. Yes.
But I'm having a hard time now finding decent salmon because some of it is like farm raised in Vietnam, and no offense to any Vietnamese or anything, but I'm not down with the farm raised that far away.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not just Vietnam. I just picked that country
but
to
not
say.
close by, not even in the country.
And even farm raised, it really from anywhere is a little, you got to wonder what the conditions are and all of that. So I haven't been eating as much salmon as I
Well, salmon's on the list. Tuna.
Oh, of course.
Right.
Tuna, of course. What about, it wouldn't be trout, not trout, bass?
Yep.
Bass.
Good
Sea
job,
bass.
sis. And cod.
Oh, cod.
Yeah.
Cod is often your fish sticks or your fish, battered fish. A lot of people like to do cod.
I don't know if I thought about it really or not, but I think when we went to eat catfish recently, which I know we're going to talk about today, I almost had fried cod in my head of what the taste was going to be like.
Okay.
Just like a white fish.
Mild.
Yeah.
That's why I think cod does well in sales.
Yeah.
Is because it doesn't taste fishy.
Yeah. So
I actually kind of like some fishy.
Well,
some.
But catfish, so we talked about this before we had what we ate on Friday.
It's often gritty.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be watery.
Uh-huh. And greasy.
That's not, yes. From the frying, right? Or just the fish itself.
Even just the fish itself, because I don't know what it eats sometimes, but it just has like a greasy kind of a texture to it.
Yeah.
And sometimes a gritty, almost like it's been eating dirt.
Makes sense.
Nobody's going to want to eat it after we talk about this.
You are what you eat.
That's why I've not necessarily always been a fan.
Right.
It's because of some of the catfish I've had tasted like that.
Yeah.
But it's not all like that.
No.
And when it's good, it's good.
So we had some good catfish.
We sure did.
On Friday, we drove out to Burns, Tennessee, which is about 45 minutes west of us here in Franklin. And we were driving to the Catfish Kitchen.
Shout out to them because they do it right.
We were going there because we were going there. There's no passing by the Catfish Kitchen. There's no reason that you would be
happen
traveling
to be in the neighborhood unless you were going to Montgomery Bell Park. Perhaps you might be
fair
close to. That's about the only.
Otherwise, you had full intentions to going to the Catfish Kitchen. It opened its doors for the first time in 1971.
Come on.
And
when we came to Nashville.
Oh, that's
How about
crazy.
That?
It's family owned, and they have, and I'll definitely put this on our Instagram this week, they have a giant catfish
on their sign.
That is part of their sign. It's the size of a car. See, I couldn't even tell that
from
because of how high up the sign was. I could tell it was massive.
Yeah.
But this catfish had to be put on the sign because the story goes, I read a little blurb from the owner. He used to have it sitting down in part of the parking lot, but just kind of as a fun display, but not necessarily the sign.
Just an ornamental.
Yeah, he bought it and he was like, this is perfect. Well, every year the local high school seniors, as their prank, would come and flip it over.
Oh, God.
And it was getting so damaged, and he kept having to repair it and pay all these repairs. So he was like, forget it.
We're putting it in the air.
Mounting it up on that sign.
That's awesome.
So anyway, now it is affixed to the sign. But people that work there.
It was hopping. Let's just say that.
Yes.
When we pulled in, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, because they're open for dine-in now as part of an option for restaurants that here in Tennessee can now start to open. We had already decided we're just going to call our order in. But yeah, I mean, we probably would have had to wait for a table anyway had we planned to stay. Because yes, it was hopping. And you could tell, local joint for sure. But I wish I would have looked around at some of the county names in the
on the car tags.
Parking lot to see.
Because that many people,
draw.
You wonder, they've come from at least a few counties.
I think so. And especially on a Friday or Saturday night. So
well, let's talk about that. That was Friday night.
And we didn't even plan to eat fish on
Friday. We didn't plan
Friday.
on that. But as we're driving, I said, why is it so many people eat fish on Fridays? Like we always had fish served in the public school cafeteria on Friday.
I never put that together. But once we drove out with our mom as well, once you guys started saying that,
did it sound familiar? Okay. Yeah. And Mom's like, oh, that's a Catholic tradition.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know what that would be. So we
started Googling on our ride home from Burns. Yeah, so it's even more than Catholic. I mean, it's just the Christian Lenten season.
The 40 days of Lent, which lead up to Easter.
Yes, which would be your February, March, and April, typically, time frame. That season is typically a season of fasting.
In some form or fashion.
I guess especially on Fridays. To honor Good Friday, which is coming in the Lenten season. But Fridays are kind of marked a little bit more holy. Now, if I fast for Lent, I don't
pick Fridays.
Separate Friday.
Yeah.
I just do it for the 40 days. So that concept is a little foreign to me, but I get it. I understand, going back, kind of how people got to that. But fish isn't considered meat
because they're what we were hearing, because they're cold-blooded, so it's not considered meat. So
a lot of people that aren't eating meat on Fridays can eat fish.
So then it just became a thing, is Fish Fridays,
which tied it even more to sort of church culture, which we've talked about on here in the past.
Is a huge part of our culture in the South.
We did a whole episode on faith in the South, and that meant now we've got church culture that's now being impacted by what people are eating during this Lenten season. Why don't we make it more of a community thing, like a picnic or a cookout, or in this case, a fish fry? So the fish fry was born, which is totally still reigning today.
Yes, and I love to tap into something like a church fish fry. I've even just gone to one to buy a plate.
Right, not your own church.
No, I'm in a different town.
Yeah.
But it's going to be good.
It's going to be
good.
And
it's going to be, you're going to get full.
Yeah.
For probably, $12 or something for a plate.
Typically a fundraiser.
For a great charity.
Yeah.
We have one here locally in Franklin.
Yes, I haven't been to this one, but you have.
I've been a few times.
Is it good?
It's humongous, first of all.
Yeah.
In fact, I looked up. They usually have over 3,000 attendees.
So do they do theirs during Lent? Or is
it's July.
It's more in the summer.
It's in July.
So maybe they'll get to do theirs this year.
It's not on their events. So, and think about 3,000 people. I don't know how you could do that in July.
Sigh.
I know, because
for all the cancellations.
So it's the Bethlehem United Methodist Church here in Franklin, and it's I think this would have been year 46.
Maybe they'll do it, but it's for congregants only.
Maybe. Or to-go only.
It draws a lot of outsiders.
It could be a to-go only. They need to do that. I would go get it.
Completely nixes the whole community aspect that's beautiful about the fish fry. But at least people could eat fish.
But there's just something, you know how I am with tradition.
I know.
So you just go buy it anyway.
Yeah.
And the money goes to Room at the Inn.
Oh, is that their charity?
And a backpack program for kids that need backpack school supplies. So, I mean, I'm all about that anyway. Yeah. So just get me a to-go box this year and I'll be fine. Yeah. But they do a huge silent auction with it, and it's a kind of almost even a who's who. Like, it's not like, just their church. So it's like, are you going to the fish fry? And you see people from all over churches,
I love
there.
it.
So that's fun.
I love it. I love anything that'll draw diversity in that
community.
way.
I know.
That's
a fun. And those are all over the South, fish fries.
Do they have good sides that you've had at that one before?
That one, if I remember correct, it's the pretty traditional coleslaw. Now, I don't remember if theirs is mayonnaise or vinegar based. I did like at Catfish Kitchen that they give an option.
Yeah, I did vinegar. Y'all did mayonnaise. I should have done mayonnaise.
I'm a mayonnaise. Yeah.
I just wanted to try the vinegar.
Of course.
But it was not a good decision.
It wasn't a good decision. Well, I don't remember which kind they do for this one, but it's coleslaw, French fries, hush puppies. I don't remember white beans of theirs, but that's often a side for a fish fry.
Our mom was so excited to have white beans as an option at Catfish Kitchen. She probably would have doubled her order if she could.
If they had had chow chow, she definitely would have doubled it. But those are all common sides. You usually will have tartar sauce and malt vinegar.
Yes.
As choices, fresh lemon to squeeze, all of that jazz.
I love condiments. I could have used more tartar sauce with our catfish.
I agree. And better tartar sauce. That was like from a pack because it was to go.
Okay, because they make their own there. See, we missed a few things by getting it to go.
They should do that like in a thing then.
I know if you're going to make your own.
Because that
get some to go cups.
Tartar sauce wasn't.
Yeah.
Very good. But we did have a fabulous dessert there. Mississippi mud pie.
Yeah. That was so good. And I was so adamant about getting it that I packed a cooler with ice packs because I knew we had an hour to drive home.
So fun. Well, what else would you say about Catfish?
Well, one of the things that I guess is important to note about Catfish Kitchen is their sourcing, where they're getting their catfish from, right?
Yes.
So there is a place in Yazoo City, Mississippi, right in the Mississippi Delta. This would be north of Jackson, Mississippi. Okay. And it's Simmons Catfish. And they have 2,000 acres of ponds. And this water, okay, so Harry Simmons, the guy that started this, his family was in the farming business, but in cotton primarily. So he knew sort of the mindset of setting up land to farm.
Okay.
But in this instance, it was water.
Ponds.
So he was real meticulous about how he wanted the water aerated and having the pH levels tested and just all of the complexities that are just in water.
Better water.
And they, like I said, they have 2,000 acres. But he started this Simmons Catfish, I don't remember, like decades ago. And Catfish Kitchen, I think, gets their fish from Simmons. But I think we heard that they get them as babies, right?
That's right. So
that's cool.
One of our listeners, Mary Ann, is who told us about this place when I had a conversation with her about catfish. And she's like, here's where you got to go. This is the best catfish place.
Which, thank you for the recommendation.
Exactly.
It was good.
But she said that at Catfish Kitchen, they have their own ponds, which we could see.
We saw, yeah.
And it was huge.
I wouldn't even call that a pond. I would call that a small lake.
But she said that they line it so that the fish aren't actually eating dirt.
Right.
So they'll be obviously eating some slimy off the liner. But that they get them as babies from there in Mississippi, bring them here, they grow them here, get them bigger, fatten them up, if you will. But they're not eating as much dirt. So that's partially why the taste of that fish is good.
Yeah.
Is it's not eating mud.
Yeah. Well, I was actually very fascinated. I watched a farm tour of the Simmons place.
Okay.
You can watch it online. I mean, it was just like 4 minutes. But just all of the things that they do different from other sources. Even, I guess, at what point you chill the fish is important.
Okay.
They chill them very early on. No, take that back. It's the other way around. A lot of places start chilling the fish early on. and then do whatever needs done. They wait till the very end to chill the fish.
Interesting.
Apparently that brings a difference. So anyway,
and I've even heard people say, you might think the fatter the catfish, the better. But I've heard that's not necessarily true. Like, some of them are so big, you probably wouldn't want to eat that one.
Yeah.
Like, the taste isn't going to be good.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that these people know this is the best time when it's about this particular way to go ahead and get it out.
It was just funny listening to this guy talking about, like, he was even using the same words as regular farming. Like, when we harvest the fish, I just don't think of anything from water coming, whether it be shrimp or fish or whatever, coming from the water being harvested. But it is.
That's true.
It's the use of land that's being, So anyway, I thought our catfish that we had on Friday was, I don't know, like a little more chunky or like a little more solid.
I would agree. Almost like some cod that you've had. Yes. Because it's thicker than a really thin piece of catfish. Yes. It was thicker.
Yeah, I think I've
had a nice meatiness to
catfish that's thin and it hasn't been seasoned well. Like, it's more than just cornmeal that you need to fry good catfish. You need to add a little bit of spices. That's actually what they talk about in that Sweet Magnolias episode.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. And even I would say the oil that you're using, like, you don't want nasty oil. And who knows what some places that serve catfish, how old, is it week-old oil? I don't know. But all of that might make a difference too.
Yeah. Well, I think that as churches begin to open up, we need to think about how to continue to incorporate fish fries into the summer plans, because it doesn't have to live just in Lent season. Like,
that's right.
It may have started there. I don't know. It may be popular.
But summer's a great time because that's when people are fishing.
Yes.
So,
and people are going to be looking for stuff to do this summer. So,
do you remember the Tomlins, my good friends? He always goes fishing in May or June, and they would always do a July fish fry.
Yes.
So they would it would only be in the freezer for, a month or so.
Yeah.
And then thaw it out and let's fry it up. And
yes.
We even had a particular group that we gathered, and we got joking where we called them fish fry friends because we only saw them at the annual fish
sighting
fry.
Of,
oh, you're one of my fish fry friends.
Yeah.
Let's bring that back where we do the fish fry.
That's so fun. Well, that's all I had to say about
me too.
Catfish. You're
going to see a lot of that in Mississippi and Louisiana was one thing I was going to say, just because there is a lot of fishing down there for catfish.
Yeah.
So particularly a lot of those churches do fish fries.
They may even let it bleed into other things like crawfish. It may not be just catfish at said fish fry. They may
crawfish boils,
throw in some other things that are seasonal and rampant in that area. So,
and lots of
makes
yummy.
Me hungry.
I was going to say lots of yummy food in Louisiana. Gosh,
so good. Well, hopefully, if you haven't gotten to try catfish yet in your lifetime, maybe we've increased your appetite for it and you can give some a try. If you find a good place, let us know.
And if you have bad catfish, don't throw in the towel on all catfish, because there is good catfish out there.
Yes.
So
I'm now, I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I'm not quite ready.
I'm not going to say I'm a lover, but I'm not a loather.
There you go. Good way to say that. Okay, we have a new sign off. So we're gonna
mentioned it before.
Well, that's true, but we're gonna now end each episode wishing you all some peace. So we hope you have a great week.
Yes,
peace be with you,
and also with y'all.